All right, I'm not gonna try to do random videos like this. I was thinking about titling this, Do I Want James Gunn Superman to Fail? But I'm just gonna put, the logic answer what majority normal people think in the real world. I don't know about social media. It has some geeky ass shit. Like I said years ago, I was in the library and this out of shape, goofy guy that gets in like games like, Zelda was in this library saying something like, when Batman v Superman trailer came out, I was like, man, I hope they pay for this. Man, I hope they lose all kinds of money. And he was saying it in anger, like he was just upset about the Batman v Superman trailer. And I guess I started to learn there was this Marvel versus DC in people's heads, which, like I said, it never made sense to me because Disney is for kids, Star Wars is for kids. So all this feminist woke about Star Wars, it's like Star Wars has always been for kids, not for adults, for kids. But anyway, so it's just kind of like James Gunn is pulling in that era. And that era is somewhat like we call mega people, Trump supporters, cult, whatever, where, Trump is doing a lot of things that, like something Fox News would try to say Obama's doing, but wasn't. Remember that thing about Obama phone? And look up Obama phone on YouTube, and that's from Fox News. Obama responded to it like years later. So he was always wondering, like, where do you find these kind of people? This woman running around saying Obama's phone. Now Fox News is trying to say, hey, people need to buy the Trump phone. The Trump phone, yeah. So it's kind of like one of these things where, there's so many other things, like, so many, of that base. I feel like that side of James Gunn is that base of where they'll say, he said Martha, but in Civil War, and even Endgame, I think it's just called Civil War, I can't remember, where they say Bucky. It's like when I heard the word Bucky, people started to die, But and also I felt like one of them, I think it was Civil War, it was a copy off of Batman v Superman, even though I'm pretty sure they didn't purposely do it. But anyways, I know King Kong versus Godzilla was a copy off of Batman v Superman. But anyways, and something like that, what I'm saying, they get praise, but in other ones they don't care, um but anyways, to get on to the point is I I like for any success for a movie, but at the same time I see success for James Gunn's Superman means more CGI turn off your brain, because I have been tired of the Disney Marvel stuff. I see them, but I have been tired of them. It's the same formula. When I see the trailer, I feel nothing. And there's this one part where I saw this little short. It says, "What do you guys think about Superman's sense of humor?" And it's that part where the guy for James Gunn movie, where he's like acting Superman is a black guy. I don't know who he is. Saying Superman is like, "Aren't you gonna get him to do something?" He's like, "Well, I am doing something." It just feels. And then you read the comments, it's just like almost cleansing, like, "Oh my gosh, that's hilarious!" And then they put the laughing emoji. I said, people who put laughing emojis do turn out to be losers. What I have not, constantly have seen. But and so, and it's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I want to see that on the first night, which is most likely I probably but it's just going to be just laughing at just things aren't clearly funny. And it's kind of like, it's kind of weird when people like that will praise like Terminator 2, which is kind of like a popcorn flick, but they want to act like it's dark or all this, and but they'll praise these kind of movies. I'm like, so would you like Terminator 2 to be like this? I'm kind of like, ha ha, supposed to laugh at every and pause the clap. That's going to happen in the movie. And like I said, but the thing is, James Gunn can never make a serious character. I have never seen him make a serious character, and when he does try to, it seems like what I saw from Guardians of Galaxy 3. It looks like what do they call it? A cartoonist villain, where he's just over the top. So I mean, so I want failure only of I want this whole crap to stop, but at the same time, I do like to see where movies can go, like movies that have failed, like Monster Hunter. Even if that movie I would like to have seen it, like see where it can go. I did enjoy Monster Hunter. Everyone I know in the real world has. The internet did not. Even in Term Dark Fate, I didn't know what they could do. I remember I kind of messed up. Like I didn't know what they can do with Monster Hunter for the next one, but I just wanted to see what they can go with it. Or Term Dark Fate. I just wanted to see where they can go with it. Like after Terminator 2, I didn't know what kind of robot they can come up with. All the things I thought of, I just thinking nothing would work, and they made something work. After Dark Fate, I didn't know what they come up with it, what they can come up after that. So I'm just I don't know if it would have been good or not. It's going to be a hard one, but I just want to see what they can do. It's kind of like, when it got to Fast and Furious 8, I'm going on too much of, what they can do with it. But, I didn't know what they could do. After they already did a train, there's a plane. I was guessing them all every single time. And when they came out on the trailer with a submarine, I was like, I was okay with 9, but 8, I couldn't stand the goofiness of no danger, of laughing through danger. So 9, I was a little bit more okay with, even though it was attacking social media, because in 8 was praised somehow when they're laughing through danger. But the thing is, that's what I'm tired of. So I don't see a threat for Superman, and I feel like Man of Steel works. I said Superman is a very hard movie to direct at Man of Steel. But I said, all I want to see is a whole bunch of throwing people through buildings, slamming them down, and that's exactly what I got. And besides that, the movie I said it was just okay. So I actually see this to be worse. I feel like they're not going to be doing that because he's going to go by the geek logic of no destroying like many buildings, most likely. And I'm not seeing anything about fire breathing dragon blowing fire on Superman. And he looks kind of like, for kids, dragon kind of, you want to ride him, if he was a good dragon or whatever the hell it is. I don't care. I'm tired of Lex Luthor, honestly. I feel like Lex Luthor was good as in not using too much, so hopefully it's not too much about Lex Luthor. He's just more of a talk. But anyways, the point is, I would more not want to go through this. And one more example and I guess, but I think you got the point, but it's like that, what's that Twilight guy playing Batman? I actually don't even remember the name of that. It's called The Batman. I actually have no clue. I knew that movie was going to suck. And I know social media was still trying to praise it. And I remember constantly keep hearing something about, where's the sequel? Where's the sequel? I said way before when in my review, that movie's done. They're not hiring that director or that writer again, no matter how many people try to hype that up. It is done. It is clearly a bad movie, bad acting. The guy looked like an anorexic Batman. And it was just everything that was wrong with that. It was a Batman that did literally nothing but solve riddles and kill people on the highway. He did literally nothing. So I knew that there wouldn't be a sequel. I already knew that, but the thing is, you kept hearing it through the internet of saying, I'm upset that they're not going to do a sequel to a movie that, in the real world, no one talks about that movie or thinks about that movie. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they pretty much got the feedback is no one's ever watching it on a Max. No one cares or something. I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm just making guesses. But no, that's a really bad movie. But you constantly keep hearing, where's the sequel to that movie? I want it. And I'm like, but on social media. So I and that's kind of like Mega. They're like, what they're called, wanting something that is just clearly bad. And yeah. Anyways, I gotta go jump in the shower and stuff. I just kind of do some push-ups. I only done 100 push-ups so far. I'll do my next 50 later. I do 150 a day and then try to do certain squats. But but that's the point is I just tired of. I'm hoping it just like won't do better than Batman v Superman. You're just dumb. I just wanted to have that it's just weird for me to see something like Jurassic World 3, wherever that hell that was, making $1 billion. All of them made $1 billion. I'm like, why are these movies making money? I just started watching Minecraft and I fell asleep on it. But I'm not saying it's bad. I'm watching on Max and did I make $1 billion? I don't know, but it's just movies that they draw in kids, but also losers that will jump around, throw popcorn because he said chicken something. It will draw in those kind of people, the weird people, and that's what I feel like James Gunn is. But whatever. And the last thing is, I'm sorry. This was supposed to be another big point is about me being like I'm a fan of Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, okay, but and also I definitely like when I said Zack Snyder Justice League is in my top 10. No, that's actually my 12th favorite movie. Batman v Superman is in my top 10 favorite movies. So I'm a big fan of him, and I was more a fan of getting to that darkness again of motions. And that's where the point with Terminator 2 and all that, even though I'm not a big fan of Terminator 2, but I know social media is. So I use that as an example. And it's sad that we're getting something that we've seen before. And I meant to say that. That's what I'm saying. We've already seen this from Disney, Marvel. Zack Snyder was right. We don't need to copy off of them. Otherwise, you get a whole bunch of movies flooded with the same style. And I need to feel emotions. Like I said, I've never in my life until Batman v Superman felt like, don't do this, Superman. When he was going after Doomsday, and I was thinking, don't do this. And I said 4 years ago, I don't like Superman. He's boring. And I actually felt sad for Superman. I was like saying, don't do this. When Lois Lane was holding him for his, stabbing. Anyways, I gotta go. So I like to see movies not, lose money, but at the same time, just get around 500 million, save a little Batman v Superman, because it just feels weird. It's kind of like seeing, people letting Trump win and make millions in the office, and it's kind of like, so it's kind of weird world we live in. That's how it kind of feels like. Just kind of like, you just didn't expect that was coming. He was just using you. All right, peace.